Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And as this Saturday lightens and eases, it's actually changed. It's actually got a bit brighter than it was first thing. Now, do please hit the subscribe button. YouTube are playing silly buggers, and they are, again, still doing it, still unsubscribing people without their knowledge or consent. So do check that you still subscribe. And if you're yet to subscribe, now is the perfect time as we do this run up to the election and we keep pushing the truth and basically taking the mick out of them all. And definitely hit the like on this button, like button on this video, because I think absolutely you're going to like this one. Now, as it stands, where we are today, we are, 19 days, no, 18 days now. Hang on, Saturday. So we're 21, 29, 19. Can't count, it's terrible. We're 19 days away from the general election. 19 days until we all tootle off down the town hall, down to the local school, whatever, post office, whatever you've got locally. That'll be your polling station, where you put your big X on a little slip of paper and think that that's going to make life so much better. No, it isn't. However, we are also, therefore, 20 days away from having a new leader of the Conservative Party, or at least having the race begin for the new leader for the Conservative Party, because, let me tell you, by 10 o'clock on Friday the 5th of July, 10 o'clock in the morning, I can guarantee Rishi Sunak will be gone. And not before time. And there's a lot of people who are looking forward to it. And I don't just mean everyone who's voting for any other party. I mean probably the vast majority of people in the Tory party. Sunak is not liked. He is not respected. He is not wanted. He certainly wasn't originally wanted, of course, by the Conservative members. They voted for Liz Truss. The MPs at Westminster said, oh no, or rather the WEF said, oh no, and told the members at Parliament they need to get rid of Liz Truss. And so they did, and then they imposed Rishi Sunak on both the Tory party members who didn't want him and on the country as a whole who also didn't want him. He then became an absolute useless Prime Minister who's overseen failure after failure, and then ultimately, right at the end, basically takes a huge shit on the nation by running away from the D-Day commemoration and then telling the meeting that he ran to, sorry I'm a bit late, that thing ran over. What a prick. Anyway, he's gone. His time has come. He's in the last few days. He's watching the candle burn out on his career, and then he can take his untaxed billions and sod off to America. But that is just the beginning, of course. Once he's gone, that's it. The race is on to replace him. And let me tell you that the runners and riders are already under starters' orders. They are already jockeying for position. They want a good run at the leadership challenge. And so they are already pushing for it. They're putting feelers out. They are mentioning the way to go. They are building up power bases. It's already happening. Now, there's an article here. It comes from The Guardian. Yes, I don't normally read The Guardian, but to be fair, on this occasion, with their natural sort of dislike for the Tories, I can't help it. They're actually spot on. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's quite an extensive piece. It goes on quite some way, and we'll be here until, doomsday trying to read this thing. But what it's saying is, in part, that this widespread expectation of Rishi going, assuming he actually lasts until the election, and then immediately following that, the bloodbath of a leadership campaign. The thing is, when we're going to have a look at some of the names here, when you have a look at some of these names, I will give you the names. Obviously, we'll discuss them, but there is a great expectation that some of these names won't have a job on Friday the 5th of July. They'll have lost their seat. Some big names here that are angling to become the next leader that are already pushing out. Now, we know some straight off. Penny Mordaunt. I mean, she's been pushing this for some time now. She is actually one of the favourites to become leader. But dear Penny may not have a job. Her majority is not necessarily sufficient, given the feeling in the country. Now, she may scrape through on goodwill, but not because of the Tory record. This is the problem that a lot of them have got. There's some that are likely to go, but that's because they're complete tossers. Jeremy Hunt. I have to be very careful how I say that name, because how I'm supposed to say it is not exactly how I want to say it. And there's a lot of people who want to say it the way I want to say it. Because, you know, he is. But I mean, we've got this less than 3 weeks to go to the election, as I mentioned. But, you know, they're on their marks. Let's put it that way. Well, some of them are actually already on manoeuvres, aren't they? PM, as I say, Penny. But with Reform already now the second party, it's very likely a lot of Tories will lose their seats. Whether to Reform, possibly, one or two, a few, certainly. Most of them will lose to Labour because Reform will have split the vote and let the Labour in. There'll be one or two that'll go to Lib Dems, I'm sure. Hopefully none to the Greens because they're mad bonkers. They don't deserve them. But they've got this list here, and I'm going to just go through this list. There's only a few. I'm going to go through, you know, hundreds of them. Oh, beyond hundreds. There'll only be 37 Tory MPs at the end of this. But these are the ones that the Guardian say are likely contenders. And I've got to agree, more or less. I think there's probably one or two more that I would add. But they are saying Priti Patel. I can see that. Suella Braverman. Yeah. She's good, but I don't think she'd have the support. Although that said, if there's only 37, you never know. Robert Jenrick, I think an outsider. He's a perfectly capable MP, but I think his profile isn't high enough in the country. And I think it would be hard for anyone to accept him. Although that said, they did get Haig. Haig was useless, wasn't he? What was he good at? He was about 12, wasn't he? He was an embryo or something. He gave a speech at a party conference back when he had hair, you know. And he was like little Tory boy, if you remember Harry Enfield. But Jenrick's much like that. He's one of those, yeah, okay, he's actually quite conservative. He's actually quite to the right of the party, but he's not, he's no Margaret Thatcher, is he? Anyway, Kemi Badenoch, again, I can see that. In fact, I've got to say, if Kemi got it, this would be a blow because she'll have been the fourth female Prime Minister, not Prime Minister, sorry, leader of the party, but potential Prime Minister, whatever. But she'll have been the fourth party leader of the Tories that's been female. Labour haven't had any yet. And of course now you're going to have a leader, if she got it, you'd have a female and black. And that would really be one up, you know, that's sticking your size 7 boot firmly up the jacksie of the Labour Party, isn't it? Join us. We believe in, you know, business for all, business for all. Look, join the Labour Party, travel in my pink bus. Join the Conservative Party, ladies. You could end up being Prime Minister. Never happened in Labour's day, would it? Anyway, so yeah, Kemi Badenoch, obviously. Penny Mordaunt. Ah, dear sweet Penny. I know she's a bit weffy. I do know that. But I just have a soft spot for her. I think magnificent, fine woman. Anyway, Grant Shapps, no chance. He's a man who won't even use his own name. So no, not Grant Shapps. There's one or two others. But now, like I say, some of these people, Robert Jenrick, very close to losing his seat. Grant Shapps, very close to losing his seat. Penny will possibly lose her seat. And this is the thing, you're going to end up with a very much, let me put that down, you're going to end up with a very much reduced parliament, 37 MPs on the Tory side. You've got to pick a leader out of that. I mean, you've only got to convince 19 of them and you're leader. It's just, it's a tragedy. If someone wrote this as a script for a TV series, if it was like Yes Minister or The Thick of It, and you see the Tories down to 37 and the third party, they just reject it out of hand. That's totally unbelievable. Load of bollocks, isn't it? And yet here we are. So it might not be any of them. They could all lose their seat, and it might be Sir Houghton Buffton from Tiddlywink West or something, who you've never heard of, and it'd be some, country squire type coming in, wearing his old tweed jackets and a pork pie hat and a big pipe, pig under his arm, and becoming the next leader of the Tory party. And then in 5 years' time, who knows? Sir Houghton Buffton might be the Prime Minister. God, this is how bad it is. It'd be funny though, wouldn't it? I mean, sheer comedic value. If it wasn't so tragic, it would be a comedy, wouldn't it? That's assuming that there still is a parliament in 5 years after we have this massive socialist majority who will turn it into a single-party monolithic communist state. Who knows? Wouldn't put it past them. Of course, when and if Sir Keir Starmer becomes Prime Minister, he'll be there about a month and there'll be a coup, and then it'll be Angela Ranger coming in afterwards. And that'll be the end of it. And then you've got a woman who can't read and write running the country. So, good luck. Anyway, let me know what you think. Who do you think, which Tory, got to be a Tory, which Tory do you think? Cameron. Doesn't have to, could be Cameron. Cameron could bump back, wouldn't he? If he's down to 37, they could pick Cameron. That'd be magnificent. Anyway, let me know who you think would be the best leader of the Tory party on July the 5th. Thanks a lot. Bye.